One more time. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Hyborian Adventures on Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. So, catching up with last time, you all dealt with, I believe it was somewhere around 12 slavers. You managed to track down the runaways, no mercy. And I assume that we kind of left on you guys essentially gathering everything together to figure out what you can loot off of them.
Yeah. We just made sure you gave us the experience beforehand so
Mhm.
we could deal with leveling up without being on stream.
I will say, first of all, I don't think this since I completely spaced on their secondary weapons. I'm not even gonna bother saying they were there because they were mostly meant for like horse mount combat, which would have been interesting if I would have realized that sooner. Oh well. But I believe
Oops.
all of them.
I said, oops.
Yeah. I believe all of them had longswords, if I'm not mistaken. So I believe you include all 12 of those. I will say, due to the fact that you royally mess these people up, not all of the outfits are completely there. But I would probably safely say you can maybe salvage like 8 slaver outfits if you really wanted to.
I mainly showed interest in the nets.
Oh, that's right. There's also the nets, and I think about 6 of the nets are still in perfectly good condition.
Oh, nets.
Because those might actually be useful. I'm not really interested in carrying a fuck ton of swords to try and stall, especially when we're going into hostile territory anyhow.
Well, they don't know who you are. They know who I am.
The point is, 12 longswords is a lot to carry.
Right.
And
Actually, the Geralt might be able to carry those with like little issue. He just got a thing where his carry weight limit has been increased by double.
Doesn't mean it's not going to be awkward and bulky. Just means that he can deadlift it.
the thing is, longswords aren't worth that much gold to be worth carrying.
That's actually
them
the
out.
one thing I was about to check here really quick is how much are longswords? Because I assume that.
I think they're like 15 gold, and you're not going to get more than half that for selling them.
Let me just double check. Where are you? I'm looking at the weapon list.
Like, the thing
There we
is,
are.
like,
Yeah, 15.
I just think logistically, your characters aren't not going to behave like they're in an actual video game when it comes to looting the enemies.
You're not going to wind up with 99 Excaliburs.
Spear, a spear, another spear, and more spears.
And a
I'll
bunch of
find
rat
a
tape.
crap ton of spears.
The other thing is, even though Gareth can lift it, doesn't mean that it's not going to cause discomfort for his horse carrying him while he's carrying 12 swords.
36 pounds to carry all of those.
Can we carry half? No, what am I thinking? No, of course. I was about to say, can we carry half of them?
Do we carrying 6 instead of 12? I'm also double checking how much does Geralt already have on him.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I'm taking
excuse
2 of the
me.
nets for myself.
Carry limit is. Oh, I've not been keeping track of that very well. How do you figure out carrying capacity?
It's based off your strength.
Yeah. Hang on, I'm looking it up. Strength multiplied by 15.
So the 16 multiplied by 15, or the plus 3 by 15?
It says your score, not your modifier, so it would be the larger
16
number.
times 15, yeah. Wow, that's high. I actually literally.
The thing is, though, you will reach encumbered before you're
Okay,
actually
I was
carrying them.
wondering. It's like, why is it saying 24? I'm pretty sure it's gotta be a lot. Oh, it's 100, 240. Gotcha. That's why I'm seeing like a half O or something here.
Of course, I also realize that like your whatever you're actually carrying isn't what you're necessarily going to be carrying during an actual fight. Because I assume most people probably drop their backpack before they get into a fight.
Everybody, I'm pretty sure in this group has a backpack. So if he carried any of those swords, he'd probably be putting them in the backpack.
Because I'd technically be encumbered right now if I was actually carrying all this stuff with me during a battle. Because I'm encumbered at 80 pounds and I'm carrying 95 pounds worth of shit.
But yeah, if you want those, that's how much those are. And I'm trying to remember. I think I just looked up 5e nets and I found the rules for them.
I have a weird idea. There's a bunch of dead guys around us, right?
Got about 12 of them, yeah.
Can I raise the skeletons to carry everything and drive it down?
You do know that the way Animate Dead works in 5e, you got to keep recasting the spell to maintain control, right?
Oh, right.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I think you got to recast it like once a day, or you actually lose control of the undead. They can actually end up attacking you because you're not maintaining control over them.
I knew it was some sort of concentration thing, but yeah.
Z Bashaw did a video about Animate Dead like a couple weeks ago that kind of explained how it works.
Also, he did a variant where he showed how a D&D zombie apocalypse could work.
And he also explained to us the value of moonstone.
Yeah, it's the creature's under your control for 24 hours, after which it stops obeying any command you've given it. To maintain control of the creature for another 24 hours, you must cast the spell on the creature again.
Yeah.
Before the period ends.
Probably wouldn't be a good idea to have a bunch of skeletons carrying longswords.
No.
No, and unless they were constantly running, I don't think they would be able to keep up with you right now.
Like, realistically, you'd only want to do that if you're gonna basically use your other spell slot for the same level to make sure you maintain control before you take your rest for the day.
Well, I was also going to bring up the next question. How far are we from Hyborian?
From Hyperborea itself?
The city. The Valiana's.
Oh, how far are you from your Valiana's home?
Yeah.
I believe if things hold up the way they have been so far, I'm going to say you're about like maybe 2 days away from.
Okay. So,
at the end of this day, you're 2 days away from hurricaning her city.
Yeah, if it was like a day, so like it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
You pulled away from your mic.
If it was like a day, I figure it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But 2 days, yeah, it's kind of a huge deal.
Yeah, but also you have to remember you're on the road. It's not just going to be your group seeing these undead running around holding a bunch of wares.
Oh yeah. Well,
the next caravan that comes across you is going to be like, what the fuck?
I wasn't talking about the undead. That way, that's actually kind of hilarious. And it makes me half tempted to try it, but no.
Immediately, the next slave caravan immediately pulls off to the side and just looks at on this with what the hell kind of glances as 2 skeletons are trying to keep up with these horses.
Slave caravan. Skeletal slaves, get them! Throwing nets at the skeletons.
One chatters, the other one hisses, and they keep trying to run.
You just see the skeletons look at him and say, and these hate your job in life. Anyways. But my point was, like, if we could carry them in a short distance, in a short amount of time, then it wouldn't be that big a deal. But if it was...
No, you're just about to cross into Hyperborea itself. You got 12 more days after that.
Crossed into it.
Yeah, like, you just... I can't remember... Every freaking map varies. You're either just into it or just about to cross into it.
Okay. Then
we got more than a day before we actually hit a town, though, I'm assuming.
You got more than a day before you had more than a small farming village, yes.
Can we check them for loose change of gold, copper?
Didn't even contemplate that. I'm gonna say, since these are slavers and they at least seem to be somewhat trained in what their plan is, and you foobarred it for them. I'm gonna say you can probably easily round up a good 400 gold off of them.
All
Okay.
right. I will mark that down to remember that we. Actually, maybe we should just split it right now. 400 divided by 6. That is not what I wanted to do. 5 by 6. Oh joy! It's not an even number.
66 with one person getting 67. Unless you want to keep that extra coin for somebody else.
The extra coin should go to Flora because she killed the most slavers.
Should go to
That's
who?
true, but I also disabled most of the slavers.
All right, you get the extra coin. Good job.
What's the one looking at the 67?
How much is that then?
67 for you.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah. 66 plus 1, 43. I am at 209 gold.
All right, 66.
6, 7,
It's also worth noting this character sheet does actually keep track of the weight of coins.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So it's actually if you can, it's actually a good idea to get your gold converted to platinum so that it's taking up using less weight.
Oh wow! I don't think they were exact, but I'm pretty sure these most of the side characters here had about the same amount of gold, as I recall. Not okay, yeah, not exactly the same. So that's 7, then 6 plus 7, 14, 13. So 3 carry the 1. And Geralt. 6, and the same math again. 3 carry the 1. Theobald is just under 200, and the other two have crossed into the 230 range.
Okay.
Since there was mention of comparing gold amounts. So yeah, you can keep. I was gonna say at least like 6 of the nets are still in really good condition.
I'm gonna keep 2 of them for myself.
All right, they're like 6 pounds altogether. And like I said, you can pick up slaver outfits if you want to.
Well, Bellona's been looking at those slaver outfits and thinking. You might have smelled the smoke. I mean,
Yeah, the hamster wheel's been working extra hard.
who do these slavers work for?
Would Valiana know that answer?
I would say that you would have to do a history check, and you get a bonus to it since you're from Hyperborea. You might know something about it.
Or,
Here, I'm
or
going.
advantage or bonus?
Hmm?
Bonus or advantage?
Advantage. I meant.
Oh, okay. All right. And second roll. No, that's
There you
much
go.
better.
Yeah, it takes you a few moments as you're looking over their bodies. You do finally find that most of them have insignias either on the backs of their helmets or on their belts. Besides like the skull motif that's already built into their belts, it seems to be a matching outfit kind of deal until you get to some of the finer details. You do find what essentially looks to be essentially what you see is a symbol that looks kind of like a lightning bolt, but it also has a dagger embedded into the lightning bolt as well. It takes you a few moments to try and think of it, but you do eventually think that this is one of the well, not the most dreaded or the most powerful group. This is one of the larger and more common slaver groups. They come in big numbers, but they don't seem to be like the be all of the particularly nasty or the particularly most effective group. But they seem to come in pretty large numbers, and they just happen to have a large body count essentially for their group.
I've got a really weird question.
Yes.
Were any of them wearing an eye patch?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Were you looking to add to the outfit?
Not specifically, but I thought that maybe wearing an eye patch might make the character look more mean-spirited for the purpose of dealing with shit where we're going.
Valiana relays the information, says they're just common slavers. Nothing special in particular, just common in large numbers.
just big numbered group.
So I just kind of look at one of them and I go, "These common slavers thought they could beat me," and I kick it.
Thud. Actually, as you kick it, I'm going to say that all of a sudden it lets out a fart noise because they're already deteriorating out here in the heat.
Great, you kick it and it voids its bowels. Great.
Yep, basically. Kick.
That was clearly Roger's fault.
As you look around and realize there's no Roger here. You're not on the boat.
I was wondering if they were useful if we had to infiltrate someplace, but apparently not. And with that, she just walks away from the armor.
That's going to go for everybody then? No one's interested in the outfit?
I don't see
No.
the point.
No.
Alrighty.
Not worth giving up my my unarmored bonus for.
Gareth kind of contemplates grabbing the weapons just for an extra bit of gold, but then he just kind of looks at the extra gold he got off the dead bodies. Now he's just like, yeah. Ties up his belt and then heads back for finding his horse.
Yeah, we might have got about the amount of gold we got from splitting their gold up just from selling the longswords, but it's like, no.
No, we wouldn't.
It's not worth. I'm talking about the 66. We might get 66 from selling 12 long swords, but it's like that's not worth it because we'd have to split that 6 ways.
You get 11 coin, you get 11 coin, and you get 11 coin, you'll get 11 coin.
Everybody gets 11 coins.
If I really needed 11 coins that much, I'd rather just rob somebody.
So I take it after you're done kind of looting them for whatever lightweight stuff you can get off them, you're done and start heading back for your horses then?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Alright, and
No,
so I'm
that's
going
a
to...
horrible.
Hmm?
That's a No, you don't want to hear it. It's horrible.
Oh,
And don't draw attention to it.
okay.
Well,
Yeah, I don't know why you
basically-
suddenly brought something that immediately canceled yourself on it, but okay.
I had this idea we're playing raises the bodies in order for them to go back to where they came from. And then they're not our problem anymore.
That wouldn't work because the undead bodies wouldn't remember their living thoughts to know where they came from to go back there.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking speaking.
Yeah, they just sit there and look confused, and then probably get a launch an attack
Yeah.
on the next person that showed up in their
Yeah,
sight.
you don't want to have you say go back where you came from. They'd have walked a couple spaces from where you revived them, and they'd walk back to those spaces. That's what would happen if you gave them that command.
Okay, anyways, joking aside, I guess we just go forward.
Sure. And Thelona rolled animal handling?
Yeah,
Try to whistle for your horse again?
I was going to try to teach the horse to come when I whistled, but I completely, totally failed. So I lag about 5 minutes behind you guys.
Trying to gather up your horse because it won't listen. Nay means nay.
God dang it.
All right. So you set off for the rest of the day. I assume just trying to find the next available camping spot after that.
Yep. Go away, Wilbur. I'm watching the news.
You know, I didn't think none of us said this. We should have checked to see if they had any rations.
Oh.
Well, rations aren't exactly a problem we have now.
No, not really. You have enough between all of you that you can literally share for about a week.
We have all the elephant jerky we want.
Yeah, it smells of smoke. It tastes of smoke too. Speaking of which, I'm pretty sure there's a couple of happy hyenas.
They won't need to work for Scar now.
It's the circle of life.
But he sung such a good song with two different voices.
So if you guys have nothing else to do, I'm going to say that you guys eventually find a spot near the side of the road, a little bit cover, and set up the dome when you're ready. You can hide your
I don't
firelight.
think we can, because didn't you use all your...
Yes, actually, I used all of my 3rd level spells in that fight.
Oh.
Or wait, no, I still...
No, you said you used them all.
Here's the thing. Because we love... I don't know
because
if
you leveled,
count
you got an
that.
extra spell slot.
Yes. Should that count, or should I not really have that until we rest? Because
I personally would say you wouldn't have it until you rested, but that's me.
Yeah, I would say that it counts when you initially level up while still awake. It doesn't count until you rest. It does seem to be what most people tend to lean towards, at least.
because that would be really weird if you leveled up. Oh, I got more spells to use before the adventure's done.
Yeah, I guess we'll have a watch.
So you have to have a watch tonight, and you'll have to keep a low fire.
You know what? I wish I hadn't suggested not animating the dead. We could have had undead watch us.
Yes, they'll watch you. They'll watch you as someone slits your throat. And then once their owner is dead, they just shrug and shatter into a pile of bones.
Or wander off on their own little rampage.
Okay, well, since we're gonna do the, I forgot. Do we have food aside from what's listed as our personal rations because we had all that elephant meat, right? Or
I believe actually, didn't Thelona take all the elephant meat, and she's just got a shit ton of elephant meat on her now?
Pretty much. I have.
I know some of it that we actually converted into rations. I added to my sheet because I
think there's the rations that were shared with everybody, and then there's the extra smoked stuff Thelona made.
Well, while we're setting up camp, I actually set up my hunting trap between us and the path leading to the road.
In case somebody tries sneaking up on you?
Yeah, basically. I'm not setting it up to actually use for hunting. I'm setting it up so that if anyone tries to get us while we're asleep, they'll have a bad time.
Setting up a double moron trap. Alright. If anyone tries to snoop around here, tie it off to a tree, alright, and bury it underneath a little bit of dirt, and good to go, and back to the camp.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we are in the cold now, aren't we?
I will definitely say that as of this evening, it is going to be the first time you have to sleep fully out in the elements, and yes, it is getting quite breezy and cold.
Valiana, just for a short while, she goes off with her to a place and just closes her eyes and just feels the cold air.
You're really quiet.
Yeah, you keep leaning away from the microphone.
Valiana is going to go from the group for a little bit and just close her eyes and just feel the cold air.
Just take in the elements again.
Yeah.
All right. Nobody's too
Valiana
worried.
sets up her nice thermal tent.
So while we're eating, Xena says to Giselle, "So, you need anyone to help you stay warm?"
Giselle kind of blinks at this comment. She's been noticing that there seems to be a tangent coming from you lately. To which this comment does remind her, and she does slowly turn back to you. If I don't miss the intention, I do believe you might be hitting on me, she says she's slowly eating dinner. She then draws in a breath, thinks for a moment. Either way, I won't say no.
She's not used to the cold, so.
Yeah. Yeah, this is probably the most bundled she's been, and she's already tempting the idea of, you know what, maybe I need more bundling. Because, goddamn, how do people live out here?
Whereas, myself and Valiana are both like, brisk.
Did you say Leon?
No, I always try to pronounce her name so it's said different from mine, because half the time you say her name, I'm like, what? So.
Well, actually, the thing is, me and my character and Giselle are probably the two that are the most out of place here.
Mm-hmm.
Because.
Yeah, the rest of us are just like brisk.
Yeah, even the Sumerians have cold weather, but not as severe as what you're about to head towards.
Right.
So, Azina just spends most of the rest of the time close to Giselle.
Alright. Fair enough.
And, like I said, the rest of us, it's brisk. It's not cold. It's just,
Yeah,
a bit nippy.
Yeah, even Theobald's probably at the edge of camp a couple of times, just kind of looking around for a moment, then just kind of closes his eyes, leans his head back, feels the wind in his beard, and just goes, I haven't felt that in a while.
Valiana wanders back in.
Oh yeah, but by the time Valiana comes back, Geralt has probably already finished his dinner for the evening, and has also dived into his pack and has pulled out the bear head that had the hide down behind it. That was kind of like a cloak for him, and he just kind of pops the head on top of his helmet, pulls the rest of the bear cloak around him. As he sees Valiana coming, he kind of partially opens it, seeing if she's interested.
She gives a small chuckle, slowly nods, sits by the fire.
Sits by the fire with him, and he kind of pulls up the bear cloak around her too. Like I said, he's been around Samaria. Sumerians barely, seldom, if ever, stay put. So he's been through the cold too. But it's still nippy when it's nippy at night. Anything else? Otherwise, I assume you're going to start taking watches.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's taking what watch? That's the question. People with spells need 8 hours.
Definitely need 8 hours. So that means Theobald and Valiana and Azina need the full 8 hours. The barbarians do not, and Giselle does not. Giselle is not a trickster rogue.
Elena's wolf doesn't need 8 hours either.
No, he's just a well-trained boy, and he managed to barely survive that thanks to Theobald a couple of times.
Soren just comes up and just likes Theobald.
Oh, he comes. The wolf comes up by Theobald.
Yeah.
So in other words, the wolf recognizes that the cleric has saved his hide a few times and is staying close by. Theobald will kind of notice it once in a while and rub his ears a little bit.
Real quick, and this is going to be very adorable. What kind of soil and ground are we walking on? Is it kind of muddy?
I'm not necessarily muddy. It's almost kind of dry and sandy in spots, but as you've been heading more west and north, you are seeing more and more spots that are frequently covered in snow as well. It
Okay.
seems to like dew up and then frost in the early morning, and then by about midday it starts to melt, but then quickly dries, and then it does the same over again at night.
So basically, Soren's going to take his wet paw, put it on Theobald's cheek, and then lick it.
Okay. To just kind of pause his face once and then licks at it for some reason.
Yeah. And then Valiana just chuckles and she's like, that just means he likes.
I can already tell, thank you. kind of looks with just one eye as his face is apparently getting cleaned off again. rubs his ears some more. You're very welcome.
Let's see the way we're gonna have to do this. So since the spellcasters gotta get a full 8 hours, but we gotta split this up a little bit. Should each person should we rest for a total of 10 hours and each person gets a 2 hour or wait, that wouldn't work.
Actually you would only have to rest for 9 hours as long as all the spell takers only took 1 hour shift.
Right, okay. Uh-oh. Who dropped out that time? Was it Zerafting? Oh.
Yeah, I just dropped.
Okay. I was gonna say, what's the uh-oh? I'm waiting for hearing what the uh-oh is. Okay.
It'll be good when you actually get a proper microphone back.
Yeah, it'll be a week, but he'll be here.
He'll be here soon. Cross fingers.
Anyhow, I guess Alzino will take the first watch.
Alright, so Alcina will take the first watch for an hour. Who wants to be second? Well, we'll cover that right away. I guess if no one wants to be second, Geralt will take 2 hours. He doesn't need the full sleep, but he needs most of it.
Right.
So he'll just get
Ron went AFK.
I'm back.
Okay. Yeah, we're arguing over who's taking watch.
Well, here's the thing. If you read the description of a long rest, it says that a person taking a long rest can stand watch for no more than 2 hours during that long rest.
Oh, that's right. The long rest does include standing watch, because even though you're standing watch, you're not like being super active. You're just kind of looking around and keeping an eye on things.
Right. Well, the idea was each of the spellcasters is only going to take 1 hour.
So we can still keep this 8 hours. Each spellcaster takes 1 hour, and then the others can take 2 hours until it's done.
Okay.
And actually, we got more people than we need for that.
So who's the most magically exhausted, and let them be exempt?
Yeah. Probably Valiana, because she used a lot of magic last.
Valiana and Alzina used like a ton of spells that previous combat.
Yeah, I didn't use any of my first level spell slots though. I'll use nothing but second level and third level stuff. Because most of my first level stuff is not useful in combat. Aside from cure wounds, but that's,
Be right back.
Okay. I'd still say that both of you can do 1 hour shift and you get to sleep solid to 7 afterwards. So that actually, we could do Valiana right after Alzina.
Forgot to close the door.
So so I'm going to take the first watch. What are we going to do?
We'll do Alzina and Valiana first, just so they can get their 1 hour of watch in, and then they can sleep the rest of the time.
Unless they want to bookend it. One takes the start, and the other one takes the very end.
I figured that was what Theobald was going to do.
Yeah, Theobald usually is the early morning guy who'll sit back and watch things for the last full hour or two.
So yeah, so then it's just one at the start. One at the start. Probably then a barbarian, Giselle, and then the other barbarian, and then cap it off with Theo. But
So basically, you're saying just let Valiana sleep the whole time.
yeah,
Okay.
especially if Theobald's going to already be up early. Yeah, you'll just let him take that end bookend.
It's not necessary, but sure, we can go do it that way. All right. So, Xena first then?
Yep. You mean to roll anything?
I guess you can roll to see what you spot. So it'll be a
Perception.
yeah, general perception check. Oh wow, that's actually pretty darn good. So far as you're seeing as you're watching for your hour, you don't see any humans as far as you can tell, but you do at one point see far off near the horizon that there seems to be a group of animals that were moving across the area. They seem to really take very little to no notice in you, and they just keep moving on as if you weren't there.
All right.
They're far enough away in the dark that you can't make them out for sure, but you can tell for sure that they're normal animals. So with that done, we go to one of the barbarians. So who wants to go first? Do you want to go first? Philona?
Well, considering the fact that, yeah, that might be their nookie time, I should probably go. Yeah, alright. And my horrible, horrible perception check.
Hey, not too bad. Alright, so you stay up for 2 hours, I assume?
Yes.
Alright. Stay up for the full 2 hours for your watch. First hour goes by. You maybe see a tail end of a group that might be near the edge of your perception of like wild animals, but otherwise you don't see anything for your first hour really. Second hour, doesn't seem to be anything at first, and then you do notice there's a light bit of snow off in the distance and it starts to kind of drift a bit, but again, you don't see anything that seems to be of any dangerous notice in you. So after that, I believe we were going to one of the others.
We're going to Giselle for the
yeah, Giselle for the
edge
next one. All right, Giselle actually has, I would think, has a pretty good. If I'm not mistaken, has a pretty good perception. Oh wow, no, that's she's not wisdom.
Yeah, I think you used wisdom as her dump stat without realizing that's actually useful for rogues.
Well, I went into put that into intelligence, which is also still useful for rogues because that helps with investigation, which is what you need to find traps.
Yeah, when they kind of split up all the rogue skills into the various stuff, suddenly rogues need a whole bunch of stats.
Yeah, all of a sudden the rogues need like a little bit of everything, so your dump stat will have to either be charisma or constitution. I decided, we can dump wisdom and maybe it'll get a boost later. Which, actually, that should be something I contemplate next time when she hits level 8. How'd she do? I assume not that great. No, not terribly bad, but not great either. She's up for her shift. Doesn't really see anything. She maybe sees a couple birds fly by. Just happen to pass between her and the moonlight. And she looks up and's like, oh. She studies them for a few moments as they're kind of circling a little bit and then continue on. And it's like, seem to be normal birds. Nothing particularly horrific to worry about. And then after that, I assume we're going to go to Geralt.
Geralt.
And not the greatest perception, but I do believe he has something to. Oh yeah, his wisdom's a 0, but I believe he actually put some study into perception. Oh, oops. I think he was still raging.
Oh god, yeah, and considering his first roll was a 2, that technically makes that a 5.
I'll turn off the raging and we'll re-roll that. That's my fault.
Slightly better than 5.
This is slightly better than a 5, but not great. Geralt just kind of notices the snow flow by, kind of looks around the group, makes sure nothing's happening to the main group, nothing close by happening. His 2 hours pass by without too much incident. In fact, he almost gets quite bored at one point and has to kind of go for like a small walk around the small group just to keep himself awake. But manages to barely do so and keeps an eye on everybody. Nothing seems to happen. Alright. So yeah, then we're ending on Theobald for the last hour. As Theobald sits in, he can just start to see the slight bit of light blue on the horizon, but sunrise has not yet come. And perception, which is a natural +3. Yep. Once again, he sees a little bit of wildlife. It seems that the same group that was heading towards the east is now heading towards the west. He can barely make it out, but due to the light that's starting to come in, he can actually make it out a little bit better. And it does seem to be a pack of wolves heading back to the north and the west. Seems that they were headed eastward for something and then were going back again.
All right.
And with that, the barbarians probably start to wake up and begin their morning practice. While people begin to prepare whatever they're going to do for breakfast.
I basically go and
Elephant bacon.
I go gather up my hunting trap before eating anything, just to make sure that we don't accidentally forget it's there.
Okay, you go checking your trap. That does seem like an animal did near it, but didn't walk into it. No sign of any human footprints or anything, so no humans seem to have been on the road overnight. And before I forget, I need to update daily rations for the side characters. Don't want to call them NPCs because technically I'm running them. So like the best option is their side characters.
They're technically NPCs, but the only thing I'd say you're doing wrong using them as NPCs is when they're standing watch. We technically shouldn't know what they saw unless they woke us up for some reason.
Again, they're very much more like extended party members.
Right.
Technically, none of you should be seeing each other's roles either, so shrug.
I wasn't talking about the roles. I was talking about like when you describe what they saw. Doesn't really none of our characters really would know what they saw. Was what I was trying to say. Everybody's got to hit the long rest button on their character sheet.
Yeah, I know.
Actually, that should be this, I think. And that might make it a little more easier to use. Okay, yeah, now I can edit it more easily. There we go. Yeah, and everyone gets a long rest, so boom. Got all of his spells back? Yep.
Did you already hit the button on your sheet with Valiana?
No, I have not.
Boom.
I'm looking for something I'm having trouble finding, so.
What in particular are you looking for? I might be able to help.
No, it's something on my computer, Matt.
Oh, never mind. All right. They have all long rested. Everybody but one. But anyways, we can start off the morning stuff. Usual routine of the barbarians putting in about a half-hour practice. Who wants to try and cook today? I assume you want to warm up the meal, not just all jerky.
I guess me because of the had the cook show me how to cook stuff.
All right, yeah, that's right. You got a plus like 2, I think.
I guess.
All right. So roll me a survival then, I believe.
Wow.
That's a 3. And that's being
That's
nice.
a natural one. That's a natural one. I don't know if that really means anything having a bonus.
Yeah, basically, even without the bonus, you start to cook up some of the meat, and immediately the practice stops as suddenly a big boom goes off, and everybody just watches as the elephant meat that was being cooked just suddenly fries itself into a charcoal black thing in the middle of the campfire.
Can Blana give it a whirl?
Sure, we're going to lose a little bit of extra elephant meat. Oh, yeah. It's still a little overcooked, but at least it's not completely blackened to a hardened rock.
And Melena, gives the biggest piece to Karoff.
Okay, Garov is going to roll something here. Oh, Salona's going to cook her own.
Yep.
Garov takes the food and he's going to do a constitution check. Oh, what'd you know? The barbarian survives a constitution check just fine. And keeps eating. Garov seems unaffected.
Well, he handled that better than the spider legs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Never spider legs again. Give me real meat. All right. Breakfast is eventually done for everybody. And so I assume you gear up your horses and start heading off again.
Yeah.
If you're going to
First
keep
of all,
Hmm?
when Thelona came out this morning, this is probably the most you've ever seen her in, because she's now completely in her winter gear. So she has, full leggings, full, fur. Basically, let's see if I can. Just a second. I had an image. I was trying to grab it. Just a moment. It's basically, for whatever reason, my computer is not being friendly with me right now. And I just grabbed it, and now I can't find it again. Never mind. I will show it later.
All right. It'll be an image that shows up whenever we get a chance to see it. But yeah, Geralt is still dressed the same as usual, just with the additional adornment of bear head and hide cloak, essentially. It's the extra warmth he needs for now.
Melena dresses full winter gear.
Yeah, so instead of just the normal black outfit you've been wearing, you've also got an additional layer underneath to try and keep warm.
Additional black warmth outfit. Melena comes forward and her wolf's head gets on.
What?
What? You need to get closer to your microphone, dude.
Okay, she wakes up in her full winter gear, pets the wolf on the head, and tucks a finger under the raven, then gets on the horse right to.
Oh, okay. So you're ready to take off.
Right.
All right. Anything else anyone wants to add before they go?
Zina's just wearing her thicker clothing now. She got that jacket and the gloves and the boots with the fur lining and the scarf.
Yeah, Giselle's still wearing the leather outfit, but you can see that she's added an obvious second layer of cloth underneath it.
I know that she bought something to pad herself.
Basically.
But she might not have understood how much she was going to need.
Well, it's not going to go severely bad. It would get severely bad if you guys went, like, straight north right now. That would be you guys walking straight into the tundra. You're walking more westward than you are northward, so you're going to get to some chilly spots, but you're not going to be, like, frozen yet. Matter of fact, this is probably the first time this is the closest she's seen to actual snow, even though it's more like frost than it is snow out in the distance.
New Flona image in the Discord.
I'm sorry, what?
A new. I put the picture up in the Discord.
Ah, okay. Oh, okay. I think I've seen that one around a little bit. Yeah.
Would be good for a winter outfit, but not for desert.
No, it would not be good for desert. But yeah, that's just like enough extra that's like, okay, yeah, I can handle the cold now.
So I saved it to my computer, but for some reason it wasn't finding it.
So you had to go searching for it?
Yeah. Or actually, I had to dig it out of the Discord archives. But yeah, so that's kind of what she looks like now, only with the two-handed sword instead of the axe and shield.
Right.
I copied the wrong thing there, just so people can get general gist. There you go. All right. So everyone finally gets back on their horses and heads off for the day. Speaking of which, I'm going to say that as you rested last night, you were finally on the new bottom map here of Hyperborea. And I'm going to use the measuring tool to help pinpoint this. You're somewhere like the vicinity about here, which is where the X was supposed to be.
Okay.
I actually had to re-alter a bunch of things after the initial take on this map, and the X got missed for being placed back where it belonged. But yeah, so you're about here, and it's going to take you about 2 days to get over there. So the first day is going to get you to about here, unless you really hurry it.
No, I don't think we should rush. Because the last thing we want to do is be exhausted and then have to go into combat.
Well, it's not going to be exhausting. It just means that you're going to have to make sure that the horses are well rested before starting the next day.
I still think it's better to just go at a regular pace.
All right.
Why put the horses under an unnecessary strain for no reason?
Yeah, because we don't exactly have, Deathclock's Thunder Horse. If anybody anybody remembers the video for that.
Your horse.
Sounds like Ozzy does.
I remember the song.
Oh yeah, they're the first introduction to Metalocalypse. They showed the video for Thunder Horse, and yeah, he basically rode that thing day and night. And of course, it was a celestial horse, so fuck that. We don't have celestial horses.
You don't have fire mares. You're not just gonna fly out there.
Yep.
Okay. So we spend the first day traveling.
Yep, so your first day in Hyperborea is once again traveling. There is one major road that goes off this one, but it doesn't seem to really go in the direction you're going in right now to get home.
Right.
So I take it just the usual average speed, take breaks when you need to for meals, and then find a place to camp overnight again.
Anybody that looked like they might be hostile on the road.
Oh yeah, and yeah, of course, keeping an eye on things. I'm going to say that after those slavers you defeated last time, you haven't really seen anyone that seems to be camping around, at least not that you've noticed yet. You still see caravans coming from both directions. You see people catching from behind you when you take your breaks, because not everyone takes a break, depending on what their setup is.
Right.
Oh yeah, some of them have, multiple horses or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Some of them have multiple animals for pulling. Some of them just keep the march going no matter what. They don't care because that's not what they trade in. Putting it nicely. But yeah, you see more of the traffic still coming from the west towards the east, and you see a collection of old things. As a matter of fact, the collection has gotten a little bit bigger again because apparently news is still spreading further westward and northward that shipments have been making it to the shoreline again. So not just slavers, but the other merchants too have been making a rush for the shoreline to hopefully get some decent prices on goods again.
I had considered chopping the heads off those slavers and putting them on pikes on the way as we rode in, kind of like frickin' Reavers from Firefly, but I didn't know if that was the approach we wanted to take.
Yeah, someone might have noticed that and start having questions, especially for non-merchants on the road. It's best just to leave the bodies piled up off-road where they might not be noticed.
That's why I didn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
I thought about it. I considered it, possible warning to anybody else who wants to try to take us as slaves, but I decided against it. Just means I get to kill more people and take their stuff.
At least if they're dumb enough to try and fight you. Most of the slavers you do see coming up from either direction usually don't do much more than maybe give you a quick glance just to make sure you're not coming after them. Everybody has to worry about their watching their backs because there's still, even though it's human slavery, they're still technically merchants, and people still want some of that coin if they think that they got coin on them.
Oh yeah, I give them the "you want some of this" look.
Most of them really quickly give you the nope and keep carrying on. There's maybe one or two of them that kind of look you over and like, not now. But there's a lot fewer of them than there used to be.
Yeah, at least 12 fewer than there used to be.
Those weren't actually on the road. They kind of stuck around there waiting for good prey. And attacking other slavers is not the greatest prey. Unless they happen to have a good amount of slaves to steal.
Instead, they found predators.
Yeah, they thought they found prey, and then instead they found alpha predators and just went, oh no, boonk. Alright, so yeah, you passed through the day without too much of an event. Merchants of all kinds going both ways, and you find another place. On the way back,
we have to buy chariots so that we can put bumper stickers on them that say, "We break to behead slavers."
Okay, somebody write that down in Hyborian. Someone make a write in Hyborian check. Because actually no, you got one person here that can make that without any problem. Never mind. Actually, she'll have to make a use chisel check.
Yeah, I guess
Will
there's
slow down to behead slavers.
Otherwise, we break for nobody.
If only I had a copy of my of the pirate flag with us to put on the chariot.
That's it. We have to spend 6 months somewhere and basically build a land ship.
You know what you do? It's the size of a ship, but it's really just a really big chariot that's pulled by 2 elephants.
Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Alex up here, 2 mammoths.
Not 2 elephants. It's pulled by 6 frickin' horses.
Oh no!
I don't think 6 horses would be strong enough.
Well, it's made out of mostly wood, but it's a big enough thing that's almost the size of a boat. And those 6 horses would be enough for that.
If only I had planned for this advance. Land piracy.
So we get
ice pirates, damn it all!
So do we get where we're going? No problems the first day? No problems the first day?
Yeah, during the day you have no problems. You proceed to make up set up a camp, and you can do the dome this time, so no one has to worry about keeping watch. just make sure people are up early to check on things before they head out for the usual
Yeah,
morning.
not only that, we don't have to worry
routine.
about the elements. While
Why
we
do I see Thelona and Azina making jokes about this in character as they're traveling?
What?
Making a giant land pirate ship?
I could kind of see that being a conversation.
You know what we're missing? We're missing a giant wooden boat on wheels.
This is a picture of the rest of the party looking at us like we're insane.
You know what would be even more insane? Valiana wasting one of her uses on her necklace or pendant to get the goddess to push it.
The goddess would just whisper in your head, "I don't push."
Oh, baby.
Oh baby, oh baby.
By the end of it, it's a frickin' whole frickin' galleon-sized ship being pushed by 4 mammoths on skids.
Oh, skids? I thought it was gonna be on wheels.
Well, we're up north, so it'd be skids.
Okay.
Make it all terrain, yeah. Ice pirates.
So, do we need to roll for someone to cook? Oh wait, that'd be breakfast, I think.
Yeah, go to next morning. Who wants to roll for breakfast? And also make sure to update your food charts.
I'm done.
You guys will
As he's done trying.
Valiana will give it a whirl again.
Actually, let's check really quick. What's your survival?
-1.
-1. Yeah, no. Theobald's gonna get up early in the morning and cook again. Look at that. It's not even burnt.
It's not his new name is Thank You Bold.
Thank you, Bold.
Valiana gets up.
Here you go. Fresh elephant for you. Fresh elephant for you.
And watching him cooking.
Flips another piece of meat. It's a little bit fatty. Tosses it over to the wolf. A piece of meat for you.
But my
The wolf quickly grabs it and carries it around the corner where he gnaws on it.
It's wolfing, but it's all fat.
Well, not all fat, but it's kind of an annoying piece for humans to eat through, so that goes to the wolf.
He's got better teeth for it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
He's more carnivorous. He can handle it.
Since Azina didn't cook this time, she just plays her flute while he's making breakfast. Give him some cooking. Give him some cooking music.
Little cooking music, please.
So Azina goes into playing the flute while the rest of you finish up your meal. You do spot a few early caravans, and one of them actually does kind of slow down and looks your direction as they're hearing this music, and they're just like, okay. And then slowly continue on their way.
Do I notice them looking at me?
Oh, it's a big group, so yeah, they obviously, you notice this wagon and possibly a group of people trailing behind it, and they're just kind of like, what the heck?
When they stop and look at us, I temporarily pause, point my 2 fingers at my eyes, and then one of my fingers at them, like I see you.
And they just start playing again.
Yeah.
The caravan merchant that's leading it just kind of blinks. Okay, and again that yanks the reins again to get the horses going. Breakfast otherwise goes off without a hitch, and other than some of the early caravans already passing by, it doesn't take you too long to get done with breakfast and morning routine, and you're back on your horses again. So I believe you're starting like around here. Yeah, you're trying to get to about there.
Now, this time I could see us riding harder to get to the town faster because the horses are going to have plenty of time to rest when we get there.
That is true, and there's also multiple paths.
I would say once we're around that bend, because then it's all a straight shot and we don't have to worry about any curves.
We're back about here. There we go. Like about theirs or so. But yeah, you're trying to get over to this. There is 2 paths on the main roads if you wish to stay on the main roads.
Yeah,
What's
but
the name of
there's this bend like right here.
Yeah,
So I would suggest we ride normally until we hit that bend, and then pretty much go.
all right.
Right.
So, do you want to
I
both
mean-
just cross country, or are you planning to take the roads?
I think we're gonna stay on the road still, but
Yeah, but we're gonna start hard riding.
All right.
after take the bend.
Zooming in a bit further. So once you hit the bend, where do you want to go? The road does split right here. There is
Well,
the mill here, or you can just take the road that goes north and then heads westward.
I
That's
think it makes more sense to go past the mill instead of going north and then having to turn around and go south again.
Yeah, it spends a little less time if you just go to the mill.
Right. So, Valiana.
So heading towards the mill then.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've heard about this, Valiana, because this is close enough to you, but you've never been out this way before because you very seldom head this direction. You've heard about the mill, or at least people that have seen it. Essentially, as you head out this way, what you finally see when you get to the mill is you literally see possibly one of the biggest wheels of pain any of you have ever seen. It's hard to tell when the last time it was used, and it's just sitting there empty. There is a trail around it like it has been heavily used before, but and it does seem to be a wheel of pain that is used to round up grains and such for food usage, but it seems to, despite lack of usage right now, it seems that no one's using it at the moment. But it seems to have been looked after enough that it's not like falling apart or anything yet. It's just sitting there empty, and as the wind blows, you kind of see it rock just a little bit.
So this is basically a combination of a productivity device and a torture device.
Basically, have you not seen a wheel of pain before, Ozzy?
I think I know what it is. It's the thing where a bunch of slaves push it in a circle to make it do something.
More or less. I'm trying to see if I can find a good quality picture of one, because there's lots of them nowadays. Funny
Yeah,
enough.
I see what it is. Yeah.
For those that don't know, just in case I'm looking one up anyways. I'm not gonna go with that one because that could confuse things. I'm just gonna go with a movie picture here. Copy that. I'm gonna paste that in the campaign here for others to see if you don't know what it is. Most of us try to know what it is. And put that in here. But yes, essentially you just see this giant thing, like a massive middle spoke, several spokes sticking out to the sides for people to push. There's a trail there that looks like people have well treaded it. But it seems to be just kind of empty right now, and like I said, as the wind picks up, you kind of see the spokes that are sticking out to the sides kind of rock slightly, but not enough wind to actually make it move.
As we're passing by this, Azina turns to Thelona and says, "Hey, if we come by this thing again on the way back, remind me to destroy it."
Thelona raises an eyebrow, but doesn't really say anything.
Geralt kind of looks at it. He kind of gives it a wary glance, kind of like he's had slight experience with these things before himself. As a matter of fact, actually, as he's looking it over, he kind of looks back out the other directions around you guys as he's kind of like making sure no one else is around here and getting ideas and doesn't see anybody, so he just kind of shrugs it off for the moment and keeps moving with the rest of the group.
Does Valiana see like nobody around this thing? It's just completely empty.
What?
Is the mill completely empty? Right. The wheel.
Yeah, the giant wheel is completely empty. There's no one manning it. There's none like watching over it or anything. It's just kind of unused at the moment. But again, it's been recently used enough that like there's figureheads on the ends of the like big spokes that are sticking out from the sides that you can see like animal faces and stuff. So it's been taken care of enough that it's actually still getting occasionally used, but just doesn't seem like anyone's used it in a while.
Valena's gonna. This is gonna sound a little weird, but bear with me. Valena's gonna take a whiff of the air. And does she have any familiar smells of dead flesh, bone, anything like that?
Oh, like she like detect someone that might have died here?
Or corpses?
Like nearby recent corpses?
Probably.
Yeah, if you're trying to detect any recently dead, no, she's not picking anything up.
Alright.
Like, if you really dug in there and got close to it, you might be able to smell, like, some leftover, human smells on it, but...
Valena has more of an urgency to get back home to check on her family.
But yeah, you don't see anything here in particular. And the wind, and if you're trying to pick up like a wind smell from home, the wind's not in the right direction to do that.
Okay. So.
But I will say, you've gone the majority of the way there, so I'm going to say you're probably like a good 10 miles out, and as you start to round the mill and start heading down the main road back towards where Elthar, your home city, is at, you do see a pillar of smoke, but that could be just about anything from this distance. Could be a lot of campfires open, could be something is burning by accident, or something else. You can't say for sure from this distance yet.
She will pick up pace, but calmly pick up pace. If that makes sense.
Well, actually, I believe the group already said they were going to pick up pace to high from the corner. So you slowed down a little bit for the mill and just like you're immediately picking up pace again.
All right.
So yeah, you're trying to get to Elthar before evening. I'm going to say it's like, since you're racing the majority of this, you're getting there about early afternoon. And as you get closer, you do see that there are multiple fires, and it does seem to be bigger than just your normal camping or cooking fires.
Oh.
This obviously gets Valiana to be kind of in a panicked hurry, but you can't really push the horse faster than it's already going at this speed. So you finally do reach the... So, to describe what the city is like when you get there, you've got the castle in like the back center, where apparently Valina's family is from. That has its own wall around it with a few outlooking towers. But then you got a lower but still decently made stone wall around the city itself that comes out to the front with a wide open gate. The gates are wide open right now, but it also looks like they might have been partially bashed in a little bit.
And so it looks like there's been a siege or something.
Quite possibly, and as you're going into town, you do slow down because you don't want to like trample over people, and there's still people. There's still people around. As a matter of fact, a few of them look at you oddly because you're a really weird ragtag group, and you're not all Hyborians. And then a few of them even get panicked looks when they see Valiana at first. But it takes them a few moments, and as they're paying attention, they're like, "Oh wait." And they quickly, a few of them that pay close attention actually start taking a knee out the roadside as they recognize Valiana. And even a few guards immediately turn around, seeing movement and seeing the white hair, start to like be really hesitant. But then when they pay closer attention, also quickly roadside and kneel. And as you're passing through town, you do see a few huts have been set on fire, but thankfully the majority of the town around the castle has been left untouched. Just a few of them in particular seem to have been just randomly targeted. It's when you get closer to the castle, though, that you start to see more scorch marks.
So the area where Valina's from is being more under siege?
From what you can tell, as you're getting closer to the castle, it doesn't look like there's anyone sieging it anymore, but does look like it's been battered, but you're not close enough to see full details. Actually, since you're not close enough to the castle yet, give me a perception check.
Okay.
All of us?
Who's got like the highest? I think Theobald has a
Blaine's
+3,
gonna do
doesn't
it
he?
anyway.
I have a +5 to perception.
Oh, heck yeah, go for it.
I did worse than
did a oof roll.
I think Ozzy ain't familiar with the area, so she doesn't know what to look for.
Geralt knows bad magic when he feels it. Geralt, roll.
a natural 1.
I see all the pretty houses.
What does?
You know, I was gonna say logically, couldn't Valiana question one of the guards that bowed to her and ask what's happening or what happened?
Oh
She-
God, we all suck today, don't we?
Valena looks at one of the guards and goes, "What happened?"
Theobald rolls a 15. Immediately Theobald kind of halts his horse as Valena's also questioning one of the guards, and Theobald's just like, I don't think they're here anymore. I think they're already done. Do you still question the guard?
Yeah, she questions the guard and goes, "Who was
Okay, you get one of the guards. He quickly kind of stands up. My lady. Yeah, he does a quick like hand over chest motion, like a normal guard saluting back. About a week ago, we were under siege. Your family is no more except for your brother, and most of the royal guard. He's looking at the ground nervously.
Valena kind of takes a moment to take that in. How much of the royal guard is left?
About a quarter of them, my lady. Most of them died trying to protect your family. A few of them left with your brother to make sure he stayed safe while your parents stayed.
Did I write down his name?
I was wondering, did you actually have names for family members?
I don't think I did.
So,
Did Aegon make it? Because
Aegon?
Aegon or
Legon, okay. So your brother's name is Legon?
no, not him. He's probably
Oh wait, no, that's right. You're right. The guard raises his head slightly, thinks for a moment. Oh, the High Captain of the Royal Guard. I'm sorry, my lady. He was amongst the front line.
but my brother is okay.
The guard quickly nods. Yes, my lady. He left with some of the Royal Guard, and they came back a few days later when the siege had stopped.
Is he around?
He motions towards the castle. He has been trying to order the cleanup and the trying to hire up more Royal Guard again.
Can I see him?
The guard kind of bows to you. I don't think anyone would stop you, my lady. He might need a few moments because he's doing preparations, but he would probably see you as soon as he can.
I will see him immediately.
The guard nods and lets you go if you wish, because he's still busy. Like, if you look behind him, he was apparently busy helping somebody with cleanup of their now burnt out shack.
Before you leave,
Yes, my lady?
Who sieged?
Who sieged?
Yeah.
The White Hand, my lady.
Oh shit!
We don't know why. They just came after they were done scorching a few homes and attacking the castle. They then left.
I kind of look at Thelona and go, Well, are you ready to kill some wizards?
Always.
Valiana just pulls her cloak over her head and immediately rides her horse to the castle.
I assume the rest of the group follows.
Yeah.
Probably a bit behind, because it's like there's probably a moment of should we?
And Geralt doesn't question. He's just like, oh shit, yeah, moving.
Yep.
So you get closer to the castle and you finally do see what Theobald was seeing. There are scorched marks all across the wall. Apparently, all kinds of spells were cast at this thing, just trying to bash their way through. Apparently, the main gates were eventually broken into. You do see some skeletal remains around here and there. So the White Hand were obviously using their undead. And then you see what Thelona was thinking about using earlier. There are a couple of pikes out the front gate, which are already getting removed, but you do see several heads on them in varying degrees of either burnt or rotting or just completely fleshless. Some of them are completely skulls, some of them are charred that you can't tell, and some of them do still have a bit of flesh on them with rather horrific looks on their faces, and the guards are quickly trying to get them down as quickly as possible to bury them.
And then
Well, that's rude.
With the cold and it only being a week ago, they wouldn't be that rotted, I'd think.
It does get cold at night, but things do defrost during the day. Unless it was closer to winter, in which case, yeah, it would be a lot colder in this area.
Is to the front gate or door of the castle.
Sorry, you're mumbling and you're too far away from the mic.
Sorry, I had my hand over my mouth. Valiana marches to the front gate or door or whatever and heads to go see her brother.
Okay, so you go through the front gate into the main courtyard. A few guards take a second to recognize who you are, and then quickly stand back and two of them that are at the front door allow you into the main building right away. Again, not stopping you. Although they do give questioning glances to the rest of the party, they don't stop you either because you obviously are following her.
Okay.
And she just runs into where her brother is.
All right. I'm gonna say you start heading down the main hall and immediately start questioning guards that are within your shot where your brother is. One of them finally does reply that he's up in the study. So just before you hit the main throne room, you take like an immediate left and head up the stairs to the second floor. Take another right to head down the hallway for a few yards, and then finally you do find the study door and start to push it open.
She pushes it open and shouts out, and this is his name, Jargon.
Jargon?
Yeah, Jargon.
Okay, I'm gonna actually note that myself just so I can remember it later.
Just type it in chat.
I don't expect the chat to stay permanently. But yeah, if you want to try and spell that out.
And can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought you said you were going to type it out.
Yeah, I did in the Conan.
Oh, in the Discord. Okay.
Yeah, she shouts out, Jargon.
Okay. Noting that down. All right. Okay, you shout out his name, Immediately, you hear a book in the distance suddenly thud. And then you quickly see he's slightly younger than you, but not by, like, say, more than 5 or 6 years. A young man head quickly pops up above the stack of books on one of the desks. You kind of see a shocked look on his face. He then takes a moment to look at you a little closer, and then just a slight gasp as he quickly picks up the book and tosses it back on a desk. And the young man runs around all the desks and quickly comes back up to you. Just big hug. This lengthy young man just
him back, like really back.
Yeah, just a big hug. Oh, sister, it's been way too long. Oh gosh, all the things that have been happening lately. What happened to you? You just up and disappeared. You were supposed to be heading towards the White Hand. They start questioning us. Mother and father started questioning them.
He doesn't know who I am, but I say there's a very simple answer. Cultists.
The young man quickly looks up at this other rather tall woman with a very foreign look about her, and I'm guessing by Azina's usual MO, slightly tan colored skin, and he's just kind of like, oh, I take it you came with guests.
Brother. Yeah, brother. She's not into me, as far as I know.
What was that?
What?
Say that directly into the microphone, please.
She's not into men, as far as I know.
That's not what I've been detecting.
I just kind of look at her and go, what does that have to do with us getting kidnapped by cultists?
Okay. It's not for you, it's for him. He was looking at you.
Your brother's now just completely baffled. This conversation has gone like in 5 different directions now. All of a sudden, on him.
Anyway, she just takes her back in a hug and goes, "Yes, we were kidnapped by cultists. They're trying to sacrifice us to their spider god."
Cultists. So slavers picked you up. Slavers? He immediately he turns on his heels and glares out one of the windows. Can't leave anything well enough alone these days. And he immediately turns back to you and gives you another giant hug. Oh God. While mother or father were here, they were panicking. They were accusing the White Hand. I think the White Hand was accusing them too. And he sighs, just kind of remembering. About 7 or 8 days ago now, there was lots of back and forth for about a good portion of a month there, and apparently they must have gotten annoyed or something, or they assumed something of us, and several of their members just came up to the gates. They blasted the main gate of the village open with their magic, and before we could really react, they summoned up a host of skeletons, and they just started laying siege to the front gates of the castle. We sent the royal guard out to protect the front of the castle. Mother and father sent me away through the back passages, through the crypt, through the family crypt. Just kind of hands on the other side of his face. It's just been pandemonium. I've been trying to get things straight here. I'm sorry, I haven't been able to do anything about the White Hand, other than to alert others what happened to us. He just looks at you and just like, I don't even know where to begin to tell you how sorry I am about mother and father, but there's nothing much I can do other than try to make sure that they were buried.
Where are they buried?
Family crypt, my sister, like where they belong. Sadly, the White Hand didn't leave much of them, but then maybe that's for the better. They seem to basically just what's the word? Cremate them on the spot as soon as they got into the throne room. If you go there now, you can probably still see the scorch marks. Most of the rest of the mess has been cleaned up, though, and the village is still under cleaning. We're trying to hire up as many guards as we can. I even sent some men out to buy up any slaves that would react well to good treatment and see if they could be hired up for new guard as well, if they seem strong enough. Not mother and father. I don't plan to actually enslave slaves. We hired them for good hands, and when you feed them enough and pay them enough, they willingly stick around. Better than some of the other jobs they could end up being in.
I have so much to tell you. I have almost everything to sink in right now. When did this white hand attack occur?
Like
How
I
long
said,
ago?
sister, like about 8 days ago, I had to flee within the first couple hours of it
Valiana
happening.
thinks back to the wizard tower. How long ago was that?
The wizard tower? You mean the
The library. When she was reading that forbidden text.
Oh, when you were reading the forbidden text. Oh, I want to say that was took you about 5 days to get here from where you were. And then a couple of days before that to go across the sea, so that was about 8. So an additional 2 with that back on that. So that was like 3 or so days before this attack happened.
Could they be possibly?
Sorry, say that again.
Can they be possibly linked?
Hard to say for sure. There's no immediate link to it, but it's obvious that I'm trying to think of her name now. It would be obvious for you that if it was a real interaction, that Lauhi would have known that you were alive. That's the leader of the White Hand. She would have known that you were alive, and there was no necessary actions as far as you were aware. But then again, you did seem to be nosing into things that she didn't like, if it was a real interaction.
What happened to the remains
Hmm?
She's asking her brother this. What happened to the remains
Sorry, you keep fading out to the end there.
what happened to the remains of the captain of the guard?
The captain. He was out in the courtyard with the main host of the royal guard. If he wasn't slain or fry-broiled along with some of the others, I'm not sure what would have happened to him. He double checks, matter of fact, and steps out past the rest of you into the hallway. Do you remember what happened to the previous captain? When the royal guard steps out, sir. We did find his body. He had been run through apparently by one of the skeletons. They must have bested him. So he then steps back and nods and goes to you and is like, so he must have been outnumbered by the skeletons, so I assume he's been buried by this point.
Valiana just breaks down crying on the floor.
Geralt slowly walks up and pats the top of her head. He doesn't know all the details, but he assumes that this was somebody you've known for quite a while.
Right.
Actually, as you're probably taking a moment to recover, matter of fact, Geralt is immediately going to look up at your brother and go, "Where do these White Hand live?" No stopping him, I assume?
She just goes, they live further, like, north, I think, or something?
Your brother can cut in. They live in, Dargova. He points out towards the west. At least that's what we understood from Valiana. No one but the White Hand goes there. Not after what the others have reported back from there.
For everything, there's a first time.
He kind of looks over at Valiana. I suppose so. It wouldn't be the first time people have tried to investigate, but not since the last time. That was many years ago.
I kind of cut in and then smile at him and go, "You never tell a pirate they can't go somewhere."
He kind of blinks and looks at you and then looks at your fancy dress and then back up to you. "Pirate, you say? Interesting times indeed, inland pirates."
Valiana just goes,
What did he say?
He made a comment about me being a land pirate.
And I look over at Azina's like, I told you.
I go, "That's an interesting idea, but I'm I'm not really a land pirate. I left my crew to run things in my stead while we came out here to help your sister.
He
Have you-
takes that remark and immediately goes to help her. How'd you know that there was an issue here? And he kind of looks down to Blaine and the rest of you.
Valiana just wipes her tears and just gets up. She goes, Jargon, I need to. I'll help you organize things. We need to figure out who's left, what's going on, and figure out our next step. I just can't believe this happened.
As you're also mentioning, trying to regather things, you do feel a sudden slight pulse from the medallion, which actually also gets his attention too, because apparently he knows whatever happened there. Whether it was a flicker of light or just a feeling of energy, he kind of looks down and immediately looks at the pendant of Darketo, and he raises an eyebrow. I'm going to actually see if he recognizes that or not really quick. I'm going to just give him a base D20 roll and see what he comes up with. Really quick here. We're going to do a history, and he's a bit of a bookworm. No, he looks just completely baffled, and he kind of looks at your medallion with Darketo and just like, that's new sister? Is that some sort of religious symbol? It doesn't seem to be a white hand one.
Story, I'll explain it later. And she looks at the symbol of Sarkat. What is it?
So you're trying to channel a quick talk with.
Yeah, like a humble tone though, not like what is it? What is like?
Okay, so you're just kind of like briefly asking is something the matter essentially. You
Right.
do get a slight whisper back that you don't get like an actual voice back, but you do kind of get this breeze over you, like something to try and calm you down, telling you more or less you're here, you're in the right place right now. Take it easy. Things are about to possibly happen, but you're not sure what yet. But you do. There does seem to be a comfort of you being here at the right time.
And I'm just making stuff up at the spot right now. I'm just gonna roleplay this. So she just calms down, she breathes, it's like, and then she just has a serious look. It's like, brother, is that fighting pit champion, whatever? I'm still available to make captain or whatever.
Fighting pit guy,
or champion of the fighters, whatever some of the
that's kind of an out of the blue thing. I don't know where to really go with that. If there was a fighting pit champion, I don't think your family would actually keep that. Again, your family doesn't really
not here in the house, but more in the city. Or do Hyborians not do it?
I'm gonna say that your local people don't do that as much. Maybe if you're like in some of the more northern cities in Hyperborea, they would have had fighting pits, but not really here. Your parents don't really partake in that, at least not to this point.
All right, so
those words didn't happen.
He looks at the list, and who has the most of the experience fighting with the white hand from the last battle?
Oh, so you're trying to figure out who might be a good replacement for the captain?
Right.
All right. He's like, well, there was a few of them that did survive that stayed here. He does have a short list. In particular, there's I want to say there's a guy that's been around for at least a couple of years who survived defending against several skeletons and actually possibly blocked the path to your brother, and did so successfully without alluring more undead to the same path. But other than that, there doesn't seem to be anything other than people who just managed to stay far enough away from the necromancers to survive the assault.
Yeah, promote this man to captain. he will be at your side at all times.
He kind of
if
quietly
he-
nods. Certainly.
And if he is not on your side, and she looks at Geralt, you will be by his side. You won't. If you have any care for me at all, you will not let any harm come to my brother.
Geralt looks a little surprised, but then kind of slowly nods. All right. Your brother, by the way, looks at this towering behemoth of a man, just like, where did you come across these people again?
It's a
Just
long
say
story.
cultists again.
Just say cultists again. He kind of looks baffled every time this mention of cultists keeps being brought up. This is weird
And,
stuff for him. He's a book learner. He understands there's cults out there, but he's just like, what? Wait, why would cultists have him? He's awfully big. You'd think he'd be trouble.
Yeah, they didn't plan for that. Unfortunately, that's why that's why the cultists are now pulp.
Well,
He
Valiana
looks back
just looks at her
pulpy.
brother.
Okay.
She looks at her brother and goes, "They were cultists, but not very bright cultists. That's all you need to."
Oh,
I mean, how bright can you be if you worship a spider?
he blinks at the mention of a worship of a spider. Oh, so Zamorian then, I take it. On the money, by the
how much
way.
of the staff have survived?
Samorian. He just calculates for a few moments in his head how far away that is. By God, sister, how long did you travel? Kind of face to head, hand to head, rather.
Let's go to the master bedroom and we'll talk. And please provide food and drink for me.
Oh, most certainly, yes. We'll definitely have to have a dinner, bigger dinner tonight, especially with extra guests. He looks at the group again, and actually does motion for at least Valiana to follow as he starts heading out of the room. There's obviously more stuff he needs to plan outside of the usual stuff he's been working on today. So he does start talking to you. He talks to you about, okay, so you've been to Zamora. Where else have you gone? And you mention heading out to the Valiant Sea. He looks more and more dumbfounded the more stuff that you start to mention that you've gone through, and then the fact I assume right now still you're kind of keeping the whole Darketo thing hush hush right now.
I think he's family. I think she'll tell him a little.
Okay, so you eventually do tell him about Darketo. He does stop for a moment. So, a goddess of death and apparently fertility, if I'm not mistaken, suddenly contacted you and is now warned you about what's happening here, possibly a couple days before it happened, or a couple days just after it happened. He recalculates it for a few moments. No, yes, like within about a day or two of it happening. Across the Viliat Sea, I might add. By the way, sister, very good on the speed to get back here in that amount of time. And she's possibly going to help you with dealing with the White Hand. Very interesting. Start indicates kind of walk with you, and as you're walking around a little bit, he does head down towards the kitchens. Updates everyone that there's going to be extra bodies for food for tonight, so the cooks do add in more food and start going at it again.
And she tells him, brother, focus. If they attacked once, they may attack a second time. We need to be ready.
Actually, that's not usually the forte. He actually pulls out like a book that he had in his pocket. You do see the cover of it. It's written in Hyborian, and it basically says of the White Hand or something to that effect. And it seems to be a journal of family notes being. The White Hand weren't always as close as they are now to you, but say a couple decades ago they were much further north, but they did take some pretty precise notes on what rumors have flown around about them. Essentially, the only reason they ever attack is usually to make make an example of them. And to be honest, they've done enough damage here. They've made an example. We don't really have enough military right now to actually handle much of anything, so I do wonder how your goddess is planning to help you to handle the White Hand on your own.
Jeez, I can't explain it, but she's
Most of us
powerful.
aren't here for this conversation, right?
As maybe some of you are, probably Geralf is for sure following around like a lost dog because he's like, I've been hired to protect him too. I don't know. But he's probably keeping his distance, just making sure that he's keeping an eye on the both of you.
I'm going to say that I
Well,
probably
yeah,
would be
let's-
following them as well because as the group leader, I'd want to know what's going on.
So yeah, so
Elena
you're probably just
looks-
within earshot along with Geralf, and the others are maybe like waiting in the dining hall, or uh, actually they probably have spare bedrooms now, so he probably took you guys to see some spare bedrooms and set most of the rest of the crew up to bunk for the night.
Uh, looks kind of exhausted, but she goes, "All right, look for some new men, hire them, and we can have, if you're willing, Geralt, Lona as well, teach them how to fight."
I can probably do that. And kind of nods. And as your brother Leon looks at Geralt, not only is he noticing now this time the fact this man is a giant, bulky fucking Cimmerian, he's also looking him over a little bit more. He notices the armor. He almost seems to squint as he seems to notice that there's something peculiar about the armor, but then notices the weapons on either side of him. One is a freaking Atlantean axe. There's no denying the design on that axe for sure. And then the other one is a giant piss off maul, which could wreck anybody's head if you hit him hard enough. He's kind of like, I get the point.
He looks at me, he might notice that I have an Atlantean greatsword.
Yeah. If
Or
matter of fact, actually, he also looks back to you, Valena, and then kind of looks at the staff because he's like, wait a second, that's not the staff you started with either. Matter of fact, yeah, he stops in mid conversation. He just stares at your staff. He even he out of nowhere, seemingly, he pulls out a pair of glasses and looks at it even closer. Sister, where did your group find these things?
it was on the road. We found a temple or ruin of some kind.
Found it in a ruin. You found
With night
Atlantean
gaunts.
things in a ruin in the middle of nowhere?
With night gaunts.
He hears the Nightgon's part and his glasses almost immediately fall off his face.
Elena just face palms at this point. It's like, please not shock him. He's been through enough shock already.
You've been fighting demons?
We cut their horns off too.
Billy turns around again. Don't get me wrong, Nightgons are lesser demons. He looks back to his sister. The mad road you've been on the last month or so, sister. I've heard legends of Conan, but I did not believe all of them to be true. But now you're talking of Nightgons, goddesses, spider cults. What else have you been holding back on? Atlantean weapons?
We got catapults out of my ship.
He kind of looks at you for a moment, thinks about it. Full bone catapults or the normal ship catapults? He starts to question now.
Normal catapults.
Normal ship catapults, okay. Don't get me wrong, not every ship has them, but that has to be a pretty sizable ship. Slowly starts to turn back to walk towards. He's walking back to the royal wing. Essentially, this is where your parents' bedroom was, where his bedroom is, where your bedroom is,
Right.
and probably a couple
And
other well-kept special
she,
guest rooms, and probably most of them are actually being used for the rest of the crew as they're walking back towards them after putting up dinner orders.
she goes to her parents' bedroom and just kind of feels the furniture and stuff.
Your brother kind of slowly walks in and motions the others to, if you're going to be here, at least keep watch, but please don't step in right now. Kind of a private family moment sort of thing.
Yeah, and she asks some like wine to be brought in for her and her brother, just 2 cups.
Just hearing that order, Gareth just kind of like just deer in the headlights for a split second, and then wine. It turns around, sees one of the guards. Wine. The guard like looks confused for a moment too, but immediately turns about and goes to go fetch some wine.
Just the mental image of this freaking huge ass barbarian looking at a guard and clapping his hands.
And sternly asking for wine. He gets it. He knows. And the guard is immediately is like,
That shouldn't be that amusing.
Like I said, he has a deer in the headlights moment, but he's not completely brain dead. He's like, oh wait, I get it. Someone else. I'm higher up in this pecking order now.
Pecking order.
Papa.
First rule about purpose training. Anyway, it takes a few moments, and eventually, a couple glasses of wine are brought in. Geralt takes them from the guard, and he steps in briefly to give you each a glass, and then steps back out to the doorway.
I have so much. Are you okay?
You're not talking loud enough.
Yeah, you really need to stop pulling away from your microphone. Hello? Did we lose him?
She asked
Oh.
if her brother.
I heard half of that.
She asked basically if her brother okay.
Okay, just a second here. I'm trying to change things up a little bit here, and your brother looks a little confused by the question at first, but then he kind of goes, "Oh, I've been fine for the most part. It's mostly just been busy work. Uh, eh, don't get me wrong, I was nervous coming back too, but from what I understand, they're not going to be coming back here, at least not anytime soon, so it's just a matter of patching things up and bringing things back around."
So have we received any word from anything? Did they leave any markers?
You mean the White Hand?
Yeah.
They left no reasoning, they just seemed to be extremely annoyed, came, attack, and then left as they seem to usually do, and he motions to the book, which he then puts at the foot of the bed for the moment. From what I've been able to gather, from what little information the family has known for whatever info they managed to collect, they make examples and then leave it be for a while, and if they need to make it further examples, they'll come back. I plan to not poke that hornet's nest at the moment until we're more than adequately re-equipped and regarded again. They're too close for us to be constantly harassing them and bothering them, if that's the kind of reaction we're going to get.
Demands. Any demands? Anytime.
No, just if there's any demand that the White Hand usually has is when they attack us, they expect you to remain quiet and not spread word, although obviously it's going to be word out that the White Hand attacked for some reason, but they assume that it's going to be because we wronged them somehow. I've just spread word to the few locally cities that would care that we were attacked, and we don't know why for sure. Just that they seem to believe themselves provoked, and that they left again after they were done assaulting the castle, and did away with our parents.
Does anyone know how they passed? Was there any witnesses?
Oh, the witnesses to our parents? He thinks for a moment. I think there might have been a few guards that were busy defending against the skeletons when the necromancers themselves walked into the main throne room. I believe all 6 of them reached out simultaneously with some magical form of one kind or another and instantly incinerated our parents. They barely got a chance to even cry out before they were just gone. There was not much protection for our parents, even if we had Atlantean gear. that might have only preserved them for a few more moments. Speaking of, he seems to have this sidetracked moment where he's like, Atlantean. He actually starts to look across the room, and you do see that there's another bookshelf over there. Something that's always bothered me, and I know Mother and Father kept some secrets in here, away from my eyes, but they're not going to stop me now. He kind of pores over the book tiles really quick, and he actually does pull out one that seems to grab his attention. That's peculiar. He sets down a book, and you literally see in Hyborian again, the family crypt. He's like, either this is a log of family members that have been buried, or kind of starts to slowly page through the first couple pages, and then he starts to look. It does seem to be like when were family members put in there, and the last entry was your grandparents. I guess I'm gonna have to add to this now, won't I? And kind of scratches one eyebrow. But then he kind of gets an inclination to kind of look past that and starts paging further back. And he does find some writing in the back, and he looks very confused for a few moments. I can't make it out quite clearly. It seems to be like really, really old Hyborian, maybe. Something about a secret in the crypt?
Well,
We'll have to investigate later, maybe, if we have enough time.
yeah, we'll investigate. But right now,
Right now, it's just
we're
nice
back
to have a
here.
break from the pandemonium of
and
the
she
same old
goes,
lately.
takes her a hug. We're
Uh,
back together.
yes, dear sister, and he hugs you back. Oh, it's just good knowing that you're still alive and that you're still safe, for at least for the time being. Although I do question your near future. It does seem that your goddess wants something done about that hag.
Careful, she has ears there.
Damned her ears. Seemingly obviously angered and frustrated about it, but still gives you a good tight hug yet before
Yeah.
letting you go. That leaves many questions about us now, doesn't it? You're technically the older, but does this mean that I have to take the throne? To be a little more clear about how Hyperborea works, there is one main ruler, but there are lordships over certain plots of territory, to which, yes, your brother could be technically the first in line for that. Because not always, but usually it goes to the first male child, but it's not guaranteed either.
Yeah, I was going to ask if it was patriarchal or not.
More or less, yeah.
Um,
It really does depend upon the family, though.
Valiana thinks about it for a second. She puts her on her brother's.
You pulled away from the microphone again, sorry.
She puts her hand on her brother's hand,
Mm-hmm.
and she goes, "I'd rather we not."
So, undecided for now?
Undecided. See what.
No, that's right. We'll see how things go. He looks at you and then kind of half looks at the doorway. Besides, I don't want to take you away from your friends if there's other things you need to be doing afterwards. It seems like you've been up to an awful lot lately, to be honest. Oh gosh, the list of things you've dealt with since you've been gone, just like, and he can also puzzle that there's a few other things too. And then he stops for a moment and thinking and looks up to you and goes, "Mayhaps have you come across slavers on your way home? I assume there must have been a band somewhere."
We have. They're no more.
He kind of looks. You just kind of see this look of equal bits of shock and yes, come up. It's kind of look, and he's just like, ooh. It must not have been a small band either, I assume. Slavers don't go in packs less than 6, so it would have been at least as big as your party. Oh, goodness, sister.
She goes.
You've become quite the rebel
Well,
roster while you've been
and then
gone.
she kind of looks to her right and goes, like side-eyed, and goes, "It was 12."
His mouth drops open again. Goodness, sister, a party of 12 of them. I assume it was one of the bigger groups, yes? Not obviously not maybe a well-trained particular party, but I assume one of the bigger slaver groups.
Not their usual group, but
Well, you explained the icon, and he's like, oh, that one. Oh, yeah, lots of people. Some of them good, some of them just kind of... But yeah, okay, yeah. They're usually pretty good numbers, so that's interesting that you managed to take them.
well,
And no survivors too, I assume. You got all of them, huh?
yeah, I got the last one, but
He kind of lights up again,
one
mentioning
can
that you got the
fight,
last
it
one.
would- yeah, and she goes, but if anyone can find and kill people, it's Garov. She kind of side glances at Garov and Felona.
Geralt kind of sits there, crossed-armed, flexes slightly. If it wasn't for the fact that you're used to him, you'd think the grin that slowly kind of comes across his face might be creepy. I see. Yes. Correct me if I'm wrong. A Cimberian?
Yes, he's a Sumerian. He was with Ozina and I when we were all captured together by the cultists of Zamorin.
Okay, so the three of you started with Zamoria. So where did the others come from?
We put together a crew. She just kind of looks to her left. Of people.
Geralt kind
traveled
of goes,
together.
we met Theobald on our way through Zamoria. He helped with fighting the Atlantean stuff.
And then dead silence.
The silence. That's the one he's gonna mention offhand. That was the first one.
If it's okay, I would like Theobald to give us a blessing.
Oh, bless you. Oh, that's right. He was the man in the heavy armor, yes?
Yes. I just want to make
He
sure.
also
that-
he takes a moment to think about it, and he's like, didn't he also have a symbol of Mitra on him? He is Nordic, right? A collective
Well,
quiet
so
nod.
very-
He's just like, very interesting group. I thought they were all Ymir worshippers. Apparently not him though.
Father, I need him to make sure that our parents can't be raised.
Oh, your brother immediately turns around. Oh, that should be no worry at all. It's family crypt, sister. That's blessed ground. Nothing's gonna raise from there. Guarantee it. That's why we have a family crypt. No one can mess with them. Unless they, for some reason, want to be messed with. He kind of gets a weird look on his face, like that's something that sounds silly and would probably never happen, but one never knows.
Valiana goes, well, I would love for you to meet my friend. So, what happens to our parents? Do you want to sleep in?
Well, for our parents, they were both pretty much incinerated on the spot. Their ashes have been collected by the Royal Guard, and they were taken to where their mausoleums were going to be, and they've been put into their resting places for now. They're already safely put away.
She just pats him on the shoulder and goes, "No, brother, I said their bedroom."
Oh,
you wanna
what's
sleep
going on with their
here?
bedroom? For now it's just unoccupied. I have my own room, you have your own room. No one really uses this.
If it's all right, I'd like my friends to investigate the bedroom for any more secrets to keep.
Investigate the room for more secrets. He kind of looks a little taken aback at first, but then he remembers the notes he just read in the book that he can't quite make out. He's like, you know what? If you think your friends can help find anything, certainly let them have a look around. Matter of fact, I'll even. He turns the book to the right page again and kind of like puts a pen in there so it can be looked at later. Even leave the book here in case one of them can make odds or ends out of that.
All right. So, brother, you look exhausted. Have you rested?
I get plenty of rest every night, sister. It's just long days, lots of work. Besides, we still have dinner. Matter of fact, he looks up and he sees that the sun is setting. That should be about time, so we should probably gather the others.
And we gather the others, and it's like, and she just takes her hands together and goes, "Gather my friends."
Oh, oh! You,
There's
you
no
step out and
servant to
clap.
gather their
Immediately, like a couple of guards now look and and they start heading down the hallway to the guest rooms. So a few moments later, the rest of you are all gathered up, and you're all guided down to the dining hall. Big long table. There was a spot for where the royalty would normally sit, but since neither of the children of the previous leading royalty are taking up the mantle just yet, they're kind of joining everyone else around the table for right now. Large table, big big setup for food. There's cheese, there's fresh bread, there's some recently roasted turkey. There's probably some other forms of wildlife you can't immediately make out, but they seem to have gathered up a few animals that they could and had a big cook-off, and some vegetation, some decent berries, some fruits, some vegetables that have been grown in the royal garden in the back of the castle. Have been looked after and taken care of.
Colona's just slumping in her seat, looking exceedingly bored.
As you're starting to look bored, immediately also a big tinker of meat is set down in front of you.
Still looking bored as I drink it.
Made of Highland berry, but it's for drink. It's not bad.
Blue
Valiana
mead,
looks
eh.
at Valona and is like, "So, brother and I were talking. We need new guards to be trained. Would you and Garov like to train them?"
I'd
Yeah,
much
you
rather
do.
be taking the fight to these white hand.
We can't attack them just. We don't know anything. We don't know the situation. We have to
Well,
make
you're
them.
never going to know until you find out.
Actually, at that point, your brother does kind of lightly cough. Actually, I have sister sent word while we were talking to the send some scouts to investigate Dargova and see if there's anything going on over there.
What
Good.
did they find out?
Well, they just got sent out today, sister. It's going to be possibly another day or maybe more to find out what they can find. I do know from Sina Shaka that occasionally people from over there do see lights in that direction, but outside of that, no one's really ever gone near there as much as they can. Matter of fact, I think we do have a record of that in our library as to what the last reports were from people trying to go in there.
I would like to see that.
Very well, I can probably set that up. And matter of fact, also, didn't you want your friends to check over Mother and Father's room maybe tonight
Yes.
yet before you rest?
Alzina, Theobald, would you like to help me investigate? Giselle, you're more than welcome to join us.
Giselle just kind of leans back and smiles and was like, I was wondering what you were going to ask. Certainly.
Sure, why not? I kind of look at what's his name, Jargon?
Yeah.
I look at him for a second and I go, We had an idea something was wrong, but if I'd known things were going to be this bad, I would have probably brought the rest of my crew with me.
Oh, there's probably no way to know unless you were given full details, I suppose. Like how many more extra men would you have had?
We would have been about twice as big a group.
That would have been at least a decent sizable group, although I'm still not sure against white hand numbers. It would depend upon how you go about it and what we also get back for information. I'm aware that white-haired children like my sister are always picked out as soon as they're found out about, and they're brought over there for training. Actually, they used to be brought up north. And he double checks. He seems to go into a moment of some deeper thinking. He's like, if I'm not mistaken, they used to go further up north. I'm trying to find where I have the information. I have this info. Oh, it's right here. If I just... They actually used to have a city where this character was found. Let me see where this is. They used to be up in Pifolia, but rumor has it, again, I don't know how much is real or fake these days with the wild things you've been talking about, but rumor has it Conan visited there and managed to sneak over their walls, and then on his way out couldn't resist bashing in their gates. So apparently the White Witch really got him angry. I believe rumors have it that he was with a Hyborian group at the time, and that she, for whatever reason, decided to attack them. Something must have set her off. But yeah, he did a number on their old base of operations, and that's when they moved down to here. And that was, he ponders for a few moments, that must have been roughly 10, 20 years ago. So obviously, both of them were very young when the switch happened.
Okay.
Which means that probably most of the people in this group were fairly young at the time when that happened, like children at best.
So I kind of go. I look at him and go. So, since they seem to have a bit of an obsession with white hair, you say.
Yeah, it's a rare trait in Hyperborea. It seems that every once in a while, and this can be royalty, this can be just common folk, farmers, people in the villages. Whenever they find out news about someone born with white hair, they immediately set about to try and contact the parents to bring them into the group. For a reason, they seem to go for white hair. They always dress in the white robes, and he looks over at his sister. By the way, the black is quite fetching on you. I much appreciate it much better than your old white outfit. They set them up. They start giving them uniforms. They start training them in magic usage, and somewhere along the way, a lot of them just stop coming home after a while, and they seem to just go wherever the witch tends to direct them. That's, by the way, that's a very common nickname for her, the White Witch. There's several other ones that I can think of off the top of my head.
I'm sure I can think of a few myself.
The white bitch.
Immediately, he hand clamps over his mouth as he tries to hold back a snicker. Witch Woman, the Avatar of the White Hand, Death Goddess are among the more official ones.
Well, I kind of try to get him to stop for a second. I go, I've had a thought though. So they obviously know your sister, and they're probably going to assume she's a traitor. But if we wanted to get their attention to try and lure some of them out, would this be helpful? And I snap my fingers and cast Disguise Self and turn my hair white.
He immediately leans back in his chair, kind of stunned that all of a sudden someone else has magical gifts. He's very seldom seen it before. Oh! Oh my, that would be an attention grabber for sure. Not sure how they would react to that. I do understand necromancers have normal magic uses as well, but um, that would make quite a hustle if some new white-haired person came out of nowhere and suddenly got their attention. Although they usually train them young, so I'm not sure how much attention you would get from them for that. Probably not positive attention, I would assume, though, especially since you're already using magic.
We would need much.
Well,
influence.
it doesn't necessarily need to be positive attention if we're trying to lure them into a trap.
He kind of ponders that for a moment. Not sure. He seems unsure as to how you're going to trap the White Hand, but if that's an idea. It's an idea of some sort. You were saying, Valiana?
So we need much information as we can if we're going to even mess with the White Hand. Is it possible to send a letter to this Conan?
You send a letter to Conan. The mere thought of it, your brother basically does a spit take into his plate. Talking to the king of Aqualonia is not always a first go-to move, and it would take quite some time to get a letter there and back again, I would assume.
Well, you can send it in secret.
That would probably take even longer, sister, especially in secret. Aqualonia is quite a ways away, sister. I don't know if you've checked the map lately. If you're to check a map, Aqualonia is on the far side of Samaria. Like they barely match borders. They're north to Samaria's south.
Okay, so that's not an option.
Yeah, that's essentially 2 continents away.
Okay.
Not 2 continents, 2 countries.
2 countries, yeah.
I think the easiest way to get information would be to try to capture one of them and question them.
Well, we can sell that in the morning, but right now we best.
Yeah, actually, at the mention of capturing one of them, your brother looks kind of perplexed for a moment, but then he's like, actually, now that you mention it, if we can keep enough scouts on them, we might be able to learn of any movement of a small group out of there. They're always coming and going, it seems, although I'm still not sure how they get into that place without some of the issues coming out of it, too.
If we find any of them away from the larger group, I could disguise myself to get their attention and then have the rest of my group ambush them.
A possibility.
If we could find a way to disguise the rest of us, we could find a way to get into their keep and take care of the head of the serpent.
Also an interesting possibility. I think there's a few court mages we can maybe call upon. We haven't had one here in a while, but I do know that there are friendly ones further up north that could possibly help with that. And or we could try and see if we have alchemists that can do something about dyeing the hair. The question would be what kind of materials you need for it.
I kind of go, I really wish we brought Tarthun with us.
Elena goes, if no one's finished with dinner, you need to investigate Rome to see if they left clues behind the White Hand.
Grelf grunts and finishes his drink really quick and grabs a last chunk of meat to carry with him as he just nibbles on it quickly as he takes the hall.
Brings a giant turkey leg with him.
The last bit of food to nibble on as they walk. He's not going to turn down a full meal.
Should we start the next session with the investigation because it is past 11 already?
I'm going to say we're going to a little more detail yet. How about this? Well, we're going to say for right now that the majority of the group goes into the room and starts looking around. But while that's happening, Valiana, would you be interested in reading up on what your people know about that city?
Sure.
All right. So I can at least send you off with this much information. I am going to actually open up one of the official Conan books here and give you some info on that city. Because that was one of the recent finds of mine, and it's like, oh, this is too perfect not to use. Oop, wrong book. Let me prop up the proper one. There we go. I'll open up the Conan Exiles one when I'm looking for the Conan the Barbarian book. They actually called this one the Barbarian. It's more details on the northern countries. Let me see here. So it'll be in the 40s. Sorry, just a moment. Shouldn't take me too long to find it. It's somewhere in here. Here we go. Hyperborea. Okay. So the first thing you note is that on the inside cover, there's actually further detail on the name. Is literally called Dargava, the Fortress of the Walking Death, which is already kind of an eyebrow raiser for a title for a city, which is also, see, very much not attempted by a lot of people. But the last bit of details you find out, the most recent shipment of people sent to check what's going on in that particular city goes something along the lines of this. The lead king of Hyperborea did send troops to the fortress, and they went to check and see what is going on because they still kept seeing fires being lit now and again. But as they got close, everything became extremely quiet. Like, no animal noises, no people noises, nothing, just occasional bit of, like, crackling fire heard from the other side of the wall. Apparently the city had been quarantined because some sort of disease was sweeping through it and was killing people. And in fact, it was spreading to other cities, but they quickly quarantined those people and sent them to the city to be shipped into there as well, and then a lot of the people that sent people there didn't come back. The King's Guard did finally break open the front gates, and that's when the howls, as they call it, began. Strange, terrible cries made from the throats that could not be possibly human. These dismal calls were sent waves of terror throughout the Guard's forces, and they began to back away. They then launched fire-tipped arrows into the city gates and the barricade that laid beyond to try and stop anything from getting through. And as the flames began to leap up, they looked up to see the tops of the flames. There were eyes reflecting back the light at them, as something was watching them from the city walls. From there, basically, from what you can tell, the details, they went to complete and total chaos in a panic run to get away from there and never come back. Since then, it was considered a place where the dead might walk, and since there were people already superstitious, it just seems like the perfect place to set base for the White Witch to possibly move her people into, as no one else would dare go near there, and it already seems to have its own natural form of Walking Dead. At least as best as anyone else can figure.
That's not good.
Yeah, basically they left pretty much screaming into the night, and the details given back to the king and the neighboring cities thereof basically went, yeah, we're not going near there. If anyone goes near there, could you, like, barricade the door more? Make sure it all stays in. And yeah, the fires have since stopped, but no one dares go near there, although, as you've been told, in more recent years there have been occasional flickering lights, but it doesn't seem to be as much smoke.
Right.
So it's obvious, and since you've been there yourself, it's obvious that there's been people there. You've been there, but you've only been there like maybe a grand total of 2 or 3 times for some more personal training with the teachers there.
Right.
If only we could herd a pack of night gaunts towards the city as a weapon.
Oh no, the night gaunts are running and screaming. Oh great, great. Now even they're scared of it. That's wonderful.
Oh, look, no, the bigger Nikons are come. Oh, shit. Well, we
Uh,
just jumped out of the frying pan into the fire. It's a giant 20-story night gaunt just lands and starts smashing shit.
Night gaunt smash.
But anyways, with that particular detail, we'll leave it there for tonight, and we'll come back to see what the investigation finds. We'll see you all next time. Have a good night.
So.
Less
No,
talking, more punchy.
Barbarian board.